Steph Curry isn't just great, he's generational. So how is he not the #1 pick?
Curry way downtown, bang! Wiggins, back to Curry, up top pull, Curry's got it, corner three, it's good.
The man had a dynasty in the middle of LeBron's career. He won 2 straight MVPs, including the first unanimous one. He has unbreakable 3-point records, is no less than the 2nd best point guard of all time. He just won a gold medal in one of the greatest 2-game stretches you're ever gonna see. And oh yeah, he just signed a $62 million deal at 36 years old. He is an icon among icons, one of the most important players in the history of the sport.
With the first pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Blake Griffin.
He wasn't second in the draft.
With the 2nd pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Hasheem Thabeet.
Or third in the draft.
With the 3rd pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select James Harden.
We can keep going because Steph Curry fell to...
With the 7th pick in the 2009 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
Do you hear those boos in the crowd? That's not from Warrior fans. That's from Knicks fans who thought the greatest shooter of all time and the best player drafted in the last 15 years might have fallen to 8. That's right, Steph Curry was somehow drafted 7th behind Blake Griffin, Hasheem Thabeet, James Harden, Tyreke Evans, Ricky Rubio, and Johnny Flynn. Those players are, in order, out of the league, huge bust, ringless, out of the league, and Johnny Flynn. Talk about a lack of aura. Speaking of aura, the sponsor of today's video is Aura, intelligent digital security that can protect you from spam. Are you tired of constantly receiving spam phone calls to the point where you don't even answer your phone anymore? Data brokers are making a fortune selling your information to robocallers, spammers, and others who want to learn more about you, like where you will live. Aura can identify data brokers exposing your info and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Brokers are legally required to remove your info if you ask them to, but they make it super hard to do. Let Aura handle it for you. Aura can also protect you and your family from online threats that you can't see. No need to download anything like parental controls, antivirus, or VPN software because it's really easy to set up and you get everything at an affordable price. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. You can either let people continue to exploit and profit off your private information, or you can go to aura.com/hoopers. Again, aura.com/hoopers to start your 2-week free trial. It's also linked in the description below. While all of those players are washed out, Steph is still here. When you break down Steph's upbringing, it makes even less sense. Steph was born Wardell Stephen Curry II, the son of Charlotte sharpshooter Dell Curry. He was born in Akron, where apparently goats grow on trees, when his old man played in Cleveland. When playing at Davidson, Steph followed in his father's footsteps as a lights-out shooter.
Jay Billis, he led the nation in scoring at 28 points per game. What makes him special?
Well, you mentioned it. He's an unbelievable shooter, and he's got great range. You know, if you cut him off at 23 feet, he'll move out to 25. If you cut him off at 25, he can take it out to 27. He's got really deep range. It goes beyond NBA range.
Beyond that, he just knew how to play. He grew up with a dad who had a long, solid career. He knew how to be a pro, and he knew how to play right. He was called a good passer, a smart defender, and a lights-out shooter. His biggest criticisms were his decision-making. But don't all of us need to work on our decision-making after college? Everybody liked Steph, but nobody thought he'd go #1. 7 seemed about right, because that's how the game was played. Power forwards were just short centers back then. Defenses packed the paint. 3-point shooting was unreliable. For the most part, it wasn't Ray Allen or Reggie Miller who was leading the league in 3-point attempts. It was guys like Baron Davis or Antoine Walker, inefficient ball hog players. To be a great 3-point shooter meant you'd earn time as a solid 6th man. It did not mean you'd become a 2-time MVP. So everyone was wrong about Steph. But what did they think about everybody else? Blake Griffin was the top pick in the draft. There was no way anyone was passing him up. He was 23 and 14 on 65% shooting in Oklahoma. He was a sure thing. But what happened next? We'll break that down in a minute. The second pick was Hasheem Thabeet, which is one of the worst draft picks of all time. He was slow-footed, unathletic, and his college didn't even seem to like him. But hey, he got a lot of blocks. And he was so big! 7'3", 263 pounds. It's like the Grizzlies just didn't know who to pick, so they drafted the biggest guy they could find. And that was literally how teams thought back then. James Harden at 3 was the savviest pick of the draft by the best drafter in the league on a hot streak, Sam Presti. His skills were high, but his intensity was low, so why not bring him to OKC alongside two hyper-competitive athletes, young KD and Russell Westbrook. Still crazy he went over Steph, but it made sense back then. Next was Tyreke Evans at number 4, who had one really solid year at Memphis. He was basically a creative player for a solid NBA wing in that era, but in general, if Sacramento drafted you pre-2018, you were probably the wrong pick. Next was Ricky Rubio, one of the great international players of all time. This was in a weird time for international hoops, after the series of busts in the early 2000s, but before the huge boom in foreign-born players. But the point was, we saw Ricky playing on a pro stage from a young age. And then another bust, Johnny Flynn to the Timberwolves, the same team that just drafted Ricky Rubio. They were trying to do the same dual point guard thing that the Knicks did in the early 70s with Frazier and Malone. But again, Johnny Flynn. And then your boy Steph Curry. What happened next? Blake Griffin looked like the unanimous best pick in the draft through 2014 when he was a top 3 player in the league. He transformed into a skilled passer and dribbler when injury slammed the door shut on his career at a devastatingly young age. The Grizzlies had a really good 2010 with Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol lining their front court despite wasting a pick on Hasheem Thabeet, while the Thunder immediately knew they had the right guy in James Harden. So why didn't you pay him? Tyreke Evans was a 25-5 guy his rookie year, earning Rookie of the Year. But the team stunk. He was also the classic don't really care guy who peaked at 20 years old. Ricky Rubio came into the league a few years late, joining Kevin Love on a middling T-Wolves team before injuries kept him from fulfilling his promise as a great pro, while Johnny Flynn was just bad. Steph's career was interesting. He was second in Rookie of the Year, then put up 19 and 6 while leading the league in free throw percentage as a sophomore. He was playing beside the old school shooting guard Monte Ellis, who was not a winning player and was not a team first guy. So literally the opposite of Steph Curry. It was clear it was not going to work out, so one of them needed to go. And in 2012, it's actually crazy they didn't choose to keep Ellis. Hindsight is 2020, but Steph suffered terrible ankle injuries in 2012 that kept him from playing a full season. In another universe, he never heals right, and he's out of the league by 28. We've seen it before, just look at Blake. Ellis, meanwhile, was a proven commodity who was an easy 25 points per game. The Bucks ended up swapping Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut, and Steph eventually got Steve Kerr, the perfect coach who let him let it fly, and the rest is history. But what if things went a little bit differently? If you're redrafting the 2009 draft, no way you're picking Blake Griffin. He missed all of his rookie year, then was basically done by 2016. But if the Clippers drafted Steph, who's to say he wouldn't have had the same fate? Yeah, the Clippers are cursed, but there is legitimate evidence that, for a long time, their medical teams were just worse than everyone else's. Especially with those weak ankles early on, if Steph went to number 1, Steph might have been the one out of the league a decade later. Steph going number 2 to Memphis might be the most fun option. Through the beginning of the 2010s, the Grizzlies were constantly looking for their go-to scorer. It wasn't Rudy Gay, it wasn't OJ Mayo. Imagine pairing Steph with defensive menaces Mike Conley and Tony Allen, alongside Zebo and the best passing big man of his era, Marc Gasol. How fun is that? Steph to the Thunder is interesting because KD might be the perfect guy to play alongside Steph, as we saw in 2017. Does Westbrook play off ball? Does he focus on defense? Does Steph leave in 2012, or is he okay taking a pay cut? Steph Curry to Sacramento is just depressing. You know he would go to waste. But if the Timberwolves wanted to go 2 point guards so badly, why didn't they take Steph and Rubio? They had back-to-back picks and didn't use either on the best shooter of all time. Now, it probably wouldn't have worked out, but anywhere Steph goes, he's probably gonna be a star. But the place everyone wanted Steph to go was one spot later, to the New York Knicks. They knew, or at least they hoped, that he would become exactly who he did. The greatest shooter of all time, an icon, the best teammate of a generation, and the man who changed the NBA forever. Which Steph drafting what if is your favorite? Do you forgive the teams who missed on drafting him, or do you think it was a mistake even back then? More importantly, if he's drafted by those teams, does he stay there for his career? Will he even stay with the Warriors for his whole career? Let us know in the comments and watch one of these videos next. Listen to The Wrong Opinion, Useless NBA Trivia, and Garbage Rankings for more NBA content.